Welcome. My name is Jim Dimick, and I'll be your instructor for this online course. This isn't the first online course I've taught. I've been doing this for actually quite a long time. Um, I want to say I did my first online course maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I probably taught at least half a dozen or more since then. So I like to think that I've got it kind of pretty much figured out, although, you know, I'm always tweaking it. I'm always trying to figure out a better way to deliver online content to students and to be able to provide those of you who are much more comfortable in a face-to-face setting, with that kind of experience and the educational value that you would get in a face-to-face setting. And I do think that although there are certainly some things that are better taught face-to-face and some things that are probably better taught online, that I try to get an experience that everybody can maximize that. And part of that is that we develop the closest thing we possibly can to a face-to-face rapport. And that's why I like to shoot these video introductions, so that you know a little bit more about me and I get to know a little bit more about you. So welcome. I love coffee. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. We may talk more about that later as we go. But let me start by telling you about me. Like I said, my name is Jim Dimick. I prefer to be called Jim. This is my... Wow, I'm shooting this video here in May 13th, 2014. I started in August of 2002. So this is actually coming up on the beginning of my 13th year. I've completed 12 years of teaching at Minnesota State University, and I've enjoyed really nearly all of it. I'm 42 years old. My wife's name is Peggy. She is an English teacher in St. Peter, which is about 15 miles north of Mankato. We live in North Mankato, actually, which is just on the north side, obviously, of Mankato, about halfway between the university and St. Peter, actually. So she and I have right around the same commute every morning. Together, we have 5 kids. They are ages 24 through 13. Our middle child is graduating from high school in June of 2014. So we have 3 out of high school and 2 still in. Academically, and in terms of my academic background, now one thing that I try to make sure that I do is that I post my Vita, which is like my resume. I'll put that online for you so that you can look at it, get a sense of my own academic history, my scholarly interest, my publications, my activities, those sorts of things. But just to kind of tell you what's not, I guess, in my resume. I began my interest in communication studies as a discipline really goes back to 1986. I was going in high school, and I elected to take debate rather than public speaking. And that began really a lifelong interest in debate, in competitive speaking activities. I debated all through high school, participated in individual events. I participated in individual events all through college. I completed my Bachelor of Science degree at Black Hills State University, which is in the town of Spearfish. Right on the South Dakota-Wyoming border. I grew up in South Dakota, so that was not very far from home for me. I'm from Rapid City originally. After high school, I went on to BHSU, and after graduating from Black Hills, my wife started the master's program at the University of South Dakota in Vermilion. I followed, obviously. We were married by that point. My wife and I both completed our master's degrees at the University of South Dakota. I had coached a little while in college for the Spearfish High School debate team, but my really active coaching began with the Vermilion High School speech and debate team, where my wife and I actually coached together for about 5 years. In 2002, I came to Minnesota State University in Mankato. While here, I spent the first 4 years not doing anything competitive speaking wise, not doing any debate, but I did complete my Master of Fine Arts in Forensics, and in 2006 I was hired on as the Assistant Director of Forensics. I've been here in that position now I guess it would be eight years. It'll be my ninth year next year. I think one thing that's important to note there is that I have a Master of Fine Arts, not a PhD, so you don't call me doctor. It's not the appropriate title. Actually, if you're really interested in titles, I'm not. But if you want the correct one, it is professor. My actual title is Associate Professor of Communication Studies and Assistant Director of Forensics. I have tenure, so I'm not quite as high as you could go in the university faculty scheme, but I'm getting close. If you really want last names and titles, or if you're just obsessive with that, I do answer to El Profesor, so you can call me that. In terms of scholarship, I have a number of areas where I like to do research and scholarship. Debate, forensics, argumentation, these are some of my primary areas where I've done a lot of work. I enjoy doing work in those areas. I also teach courses and write and publish in rhetoric and argumentation in general, but specifically in protest, dissent, and the public sphere. I'm also interested in performance work, and those are also connected to those same interests. So the work I do in performance is generally connected to things like engaging in public protest, public dissent, pranksterism, and those kind of things. I'm sort of right now obsessed with the idea of identity correction and the work of a group called the Yes Men. So if you're interested in what I'm studying, that's what I'm studying. In terms of kind of burgeoning academic and pedagogical interests, I should also point out that one of the things that I'm really very, very interested in is international travel. And in particular, I don't just like it as a social activity, although there's certainly a social dynamic to it. I'm also very much interested in it in terms of a research component and developing that. Right now, I'm at work on a large kind of multi-country study of the idea of fair trade versus free trade. I am on the board of directors for an organization that takes delegations to Latin America. It is by far my favorite place to travel. I've been to Mexico, specifically Oaxaca in Mexico. I've been to Nicaragua a couple times. I've been to Costa Rica. I am planning a trip in the summer of 2014 to Colombia, and then another trip to Nicaragua in the spring of 2015. So very much something that I enjoy and is becoming part of my research interests. So I guess to kind of conclude on kind of social things that I'm interested in, what I'm interested in kind of as a person, if you want to get to know me at all, I very much like the outdoors. I spend, when I'm not traveling in Latin America or sometimes Europe, I enjoy very much going to the Boundary Waters. It's probably one of my favorite places on earth. For those of you not from Minnesota, that's a national wilderness area on the border between the United States and Canada. My family and I very much enjoy going backcountry paddling, backpacking, so we like to spend a lot of time in nature. We're outdoors folks. We're the people who drive around all summer with a kayak or a canoe on top of our vehicles. Additionally, not just as a research or scholarly area, I enjoy and am part of and take a great deal of personal growth, I guess you'd say, in participating in social activism. I like to think that my interest in social justice combines my scholarly and my personal and my academic and my professional interests together. So it's not unusual to find me at the scene of some form of protest or dissent or one another. Those are just things that I really like to do. So, I hope this gives you kind of a sense of who I am. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I'll post this right on the discussion board where you all can ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer. And this is where I want you to post, a copy of your video that gives me a sense of who you are, so that I can get to know you too. So thanks for taking this class. I really hope that you have a wonderful online experience, and that you not only learn something but really get to enjoy the course. Have a good one.